to this here Extra Hit Points, everybody. We do one of these every now and then. We certainly do one every year when the Game Awards come around, and they're coming around in next week?
Jeez. No, it's not next week. It's 2 weeks.
I'm Ryan Miller. This is Matt Amberg.
Nope, it's next week.
And these are the Game Awards nominees?
We're doing them. We're going to talk about the game, but we're not going to hit every category. Let's be...
No. So format's a little different this year.
Yeah.
I want to say normally we go through all the categories. This year we've kind of just done a quick once-over. We've taken note of the games that we've played and what categories they're in. Anything where we've got skin in the game.
Sure.
Maybe? I don't know.
No, I like game...
and somehow we've played actually a lot of them this year. I feel like last year we didn't even have that under our belt.
I don't think I played any video games last year. I'm not even sure how I was able to talk on this show.
That's this year though, man. It's like all we did was play video games.
I'm so tired from just playing video games.
Having said that, we'll still move from the bottom up kind of here. We'll end with Game of the Year.
Good.
And as such, I know we have nothing to say about esports. Can I say 7 esports categories?
You can.
Though?
And we're going to skip 1 through 7 on those categories.
Even best esports event?
Sure.
Is a category this year?
Sure. You got EVO and Overwatch League, the International League of Legends World Elite.
But then essentially you're giving an award to an award-giving thing?
Mm-hmm. It's best awards ceremony, the Oscars, the Tonys, the Grammys, the
Game Awards.
Yeah, the Game Awards, exactly.
Anyways, so skip that.
Okay. Let's just move on.
So our first one's going to be, I guess, best debut indie then.
Okay.
I at least had a little bit of opinion here because I have recently played Donut County, in fact.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe wish I had instead been playing Yoku's Island Express. Heard lots of stuff about that one.
No, I have not heard of any of these games.
It's like a pinball platformer?
You have not said anything that just made sense to me.
Okay, fair enough. I really want to play it.
Debut indie game, by the way, nominees are Donut County, Florence, Moss, The Messenger, and Yoku's Island Express.
Right. Yeah, I guess I have played Moss and The Messenger also.
Sure.
But the two that I feel like in my mind, actually, you know what? I don't know how far Donut County's going to make it among these. Yoku's Island Express. That's my vote. There you go.
There we go. I don't know either of those things. I'm going to check them out later, though.
All right. Fair enough.
All right.
So next up then would be best multiplayer. Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Destiny 2, Forsaken, Fortnite, Monster Hunter World, and Sea of Thieves.
We have skin in this game.
A real Sophie's choice.
There's so much. Fun fact about Destiny 2, by the way.
Is there?
Yeah, there is. I had logged in to play either Call of Duty or Overwatch or something, and I got a notification saying, "Hey, Destiny 2 is free right now if you click on this button." And I went, "Okay." So I own Destiny 2 on PC now.
Oh, you clicked on the button.
Yeah.
I thought 100% that story ended with "so I shut my Xbox off."
No. This is on my PC.
Oh, PC. Oh,
yeah.
Okay, sorry. So I shut my PC off.
Yeah, I had to reinstall everything. I took it apart. I put in new parts. I actually flash fried the memory. I microwaved the hard drive. It's gone.
A drill. You pulled out your drills. You hit the button. You have like a
I've got a self-destruct
go button somewhere. Yeah, where then it just bursts into flames.
It just falls down a chute into like some fiery pit. Yeah.
Cut to you just scrubbing the Destiny 2 won't come off.
No,
it won't come off.
But don't worry, I haven't installed it.
Okay, fair. I like how you have it on PC now and I have it on PS4 because that's where it was free for me. And
thankfully,
never the twain shall meet.
I don't know if there's crossplay for that game. There might be actually. We're not gonna do it, but
you want to find out? You want to dig into that one?
No. This is so Call of Duty Black Ops 4,
right,
Fortnite,
best multiplayer game. Sorry,
and Sea of Thieves. We've played. Both of us played 2 to 3. I've played Blops. I mean,
funny enough, I've played all of these but Destiny 2. Actually, I haven't played the multiplayer for Monster Hunter World. So
when did you play Blops 4?
Oh, or that. I don't know what's going on. I told you the format was different. I'm just gonna lie about everything. That's what I meant.
It's more of like a 5 mat. We had fun playing Sea of Thieves, but that game unfortunately is so
No, that's like the runner up here. Like,
Yeah,
that's
it's just devoid of enough content to make that game something I want to go back to regularly, and it bums me out.
Yeah.
It bums me out. So this goes between Fortnite and Black Ops 3 or Black Ops. They're bringing the game back from like 4 years ago. They're like Black Ops 4. We're not real sure about. Blobs 4 and Fortnite, and I got to go back and forth on this one. But I actually think, as far as multiplayer goes, I guess I'm going to have to go with Black Ops.
Black Ops?
And my main reasoning for this being that they're calling it Fortnite here, so I don't know if that's Save the World or if it's Battle Royale. I assume
Whatever.
Save the World.
It's Fortnite.
I assume Save the World, but to be honest with you, Save the World's multiplayer, while it's fun, and I think it's got a good thing going for it. It still does not. It doesn't work in the same way that even like just the simple Black Ops stuff does, because you have. And maybe this isn't, maybe I shouldn't be thinking about it from a player's perspective. Maybe I should be thinking about it more from the actual execution. The problem with the player base is that so many players will just click, I'm going to play, and then walk away so that they can get the rewards. And it happens a lot.
So you've gone so long and hard now on this bit that I don't know if you genuinely think that they're referring to the Save the World portion.
If they're talking about Battle Royale, then I would definitely say it's probably.
Of course, they're talking about what?
Look,
in no world does
clear it up.
Fortnite mean Save the World on any of these lists. No way.
Clear it up. I'd actually at this point I'd still go with Black Ops though. I personally, for me, and this is again, I'm part of the reason I did not want to play Battle Royale anymore with Fortnite, anyways, is the constant updates. Every other week, half the time breaking the game for 5 days. Then they're spending all weekend fixing it. And it's, to me, I'm not into it. It was a fun thing for a little while. That's not something that lasts for me. So,
okay. All right. Either way, I think this introduces the question. Does Fortnite just take all of these, really? Like, I know that voting isn't 100% of everything here, but I think they are tabulating some votes from the internet somewhere. If that must be tempered, otherwise, Fortnite just wins all of these.
I think in this particular category, it's going to go back and forth between Fortnite and Call of Duty, because those are the two out of all of these that have the biggest fan bases.
Sure, for sure. I don't know if anybody stands a chance against Fortnite. I feel like. In fact, I don't know if anybody should, honestly. Like, Fortnite's a phenomenon. Like, say what you will about it. Like, I'm less enthused about it than you were and are, even still.
Yeah.
But I could see giving it to that. And I could argue for it, even, just on strength of what that's done to the world alone.
Sure. I mean, and like I said, if I consider, I have to consider this, like, am I considering it from the success that it's had, or am I considering it from my perspective?
Sure.
So there you go.
Best strategy game. This is one that needs your perspective, because I have nothing to do with any of these. And for you, it's going to be a BattleTech versus Into the Breach situation, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, no, you're correct.
So it's a good spot to be, I feel like. But
yeah.
Frostpunk, Banner Saga 3, and Valkyria Chronicles 4 just don't stand a chance from your perspective.
That many Chronicles? Calm down. Just bring it back a notch. 2 Chronicles, maybe.
Sorry, I get excited.
Yeah. BattleTech and Into the Breach, similar and yet completely different in almost every respect. I liked both of them a lot. Into the Breach is a really nice game in the same way that like FTL is, where you're going and going and going until you're dead, and then you're back at the beginning. So it's kind of got that roguelite thing a little bit, where depending on how you build your guys is going to depend on how you succeed in each map. Really fun. BattleTech is more story driven. You have like the actual mechs. It's truly kind of got that mech feel to it, and being made by by the actual creators there.
Right.
I'm gonna pick BattleTech here because I think overall it's a better game. I think it looks better. I think it's more entertaining. And while Into the Breach is a really good game, Into the Breach is like I said, I feel it's like FTL, and I think it would be a great, fantastic mobile game It's just not a game that I want to sit down at my PC and play as a strategy game.
It seems, and I probably would choose Into the Breach, and I love FTL, but it seems to have kind of more of a fleeting nature. Maybe it's just a smaller game, but everything I hear about BattleTech is just this all-inclusive kind of story and structure and depth type thing. More mechanics, maybe even.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that makes a difference, or we should.
Into the Breach is very. I mean, I don't want to say it's simplistic, but in terms of what you're doing in the game, like what your stuff is for your mechs and all that, yeah, it's really simple. It's not difficult to comprehend. BattleTech isn't much harder, but it's got more to it.
Gotcha. Yeah, and I don't know if any of that really tells you what game is better than the other here, but.
No, and I think that those are two games that you could easily like the same amount, and I think they're also games that you could find a dichotomy enough to where, like, yeah, I don't like this one at all.
Sure.
So,
okay. How about games we haven't played for best family game? We've got Mario Tennis Aces, Nintendo Labo, Overcooked 2, Starlink, Battle for Atlas, and Super Mario Party.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this one for two reasons. Number one, I am fascinated that Nintendo Labo is being considered here.
Really?
Yeah, I guess I didn't really think of that as a video game so much as it's like Lego Mindstorm, where you've got some interface with it, but it's really not like you're playing a piano. You're not playing a piano. And yeah, you can use the Switch as like a recorder and make it do things for your piano and like but
I don't mean this confrontationally. Did you get Nintendo Labo?
No.
Okay. In fact, we talked a little bit about what we bought for Black Friday. What I didn't mention was that I have 2 Labo kits because I also got the Switch with Mario Kart, and I got the Mario Party as well. So as far as games that I own, this category's got a lot going for it.
Sure.
I'm not going to play any of those till Christmas because I got them for Christmas presents for the kids. But
well, disappointments abound.
I see what you mean about Labo. Like, there's games in there, they can't go that deep because it is a hybrid type thing. But I mean, taken as a package, I understand. I don't have an issue with it.
I mean, I guess it's the same question about Mario Paint. Was Mario Paint a game?
Yeah.
Or was it
the game?
No, and I love Mario Paint. Mario Paint was amazing. Let's not undersell how great that was. But is that something that you say that's a family game? I guess Labo can kind of be, and then there's the other question of family. So like family game, but they don't have Jackbox type things in here. Everything is it's saccharine.
I would argue, everything's basically Nintendo is what it is, but it's not. There's Starlink and Overcooked. But I would also argue that Jackbox didn't have a real strong release this year, having played it.
I'm not saying that Jackbox should be in there, but I'm saying there's nothing like Jackbox. I guess outside of Mario Party. Mario Party is kind of, it's got that 4-player thing.
You're talking about, this is more.
Is it more saccharine family for, yes, it's good for kids, or is it family like everybody is playing this game? And it kind of reads like it's more of this is for kids than it is for the entire family.
Yeah. We're talking about the definition of family game here.
Yeah.
Also with Labo, the definition of game. And I think it stretches, all of that's getting stretched every which way. Like Labo is a game by a stretch, and family game here is defined a little nebulously. So sure, I would like to see Labo win this and be lauded maybe for just that, even the fact that it is such a departure.
Sure. And I'm not saying I'm against it being there. I'm just legitimately questioning, does it belong there or not?
Does it belong anywhere? You just I gotcha. It's flammable. You want to light it on fire.
I do want to burn it. And the other thing I did want to bring up here is because I am fascinated by this, and I am also very curious about it, is Mario Tennis Aces. I played Mario Tennis before, like not Wii Tennis, but Mario Tennis. Okay. I really liked Mario Tennis. I don't know anything about this tennis game, and now I'm very curious about it, and I want to look it up. I don't remember this ever coming out.
I mean, it did kind of come and go, but I felt like it got a fair amount of coverage because it's got some strange mechanics to it that are kind of fighting game-like in nature and some DLC characters that came out for it.
All I know is that I really like tennis games, and so I got to check this out because I'm really, really into the concept.
Check it. Check it.
I'm going to check
it all. While
right.
you're doing that, let's move on to best role-playing game.
RPGs.
Going to be Dragon Quest XI, Monster Hunter World, Ni no Kuni 2, Octopath Traveler, or Pillars of Eternity 2.
I haven't played any of these.
No, for me, this is a real demo face-off here. I played the Dragon Quest XI demo at PAX, and I played the Monster Hunter World demo. So let me tell you, I don't think Monster Hunter World is going to lose any of its categories.
All right, that good, huh?
I don't know. It depends on what's weighted where, I guess. But that was another phenomenon this year. One that I couldn't. I get it. I probably get it. If I had to choose, I'd choose Dragon Quest XI. That's just more my speed.
Sure.
But whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I've watched Monster Hunter on Twitch a bit. I personally don't get it, but and I don't mean I don't get it. I mean, I should say it's not of interest to me. There's nothing about that game that makes me go, I want to play that.
Yeah, I think that's where I'm at.
But that's fine.
Dragon Quest XI by a landslide. Hey, the best action adventure game is between Assassin's Creed Odyssey, God of War, Marvel's Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So we've got plenty to talk about here with this one.
Indeed. You played Odyssey, right?
I did, yeah. And, the weird thing is when I keep seeing Odyssey on this list, I feel like it's we got to put a fifth in here somewhere type thing,
I was wondering the same thing, actually.
I haven't played a ton of it, don't get me wrong, and I've heard people like a lot of it. I haven't heard unanimously that people like it over Origins, right? And I still have that, so if I do get the itch, I'm just playing that, I think. And ancient Egypt is more attractive to me than Greece anyways, but whatever.
Well, it's because you just are not a huge John Travolta fan. Never have been.
Really? Is he Greek? He seems like more of an Italian to me.
Really? He was in the movie Grease?
No. You're thinking of Olivia Newton-John.
Olivia Newton's. She's on the heir to the Newtons, the fake Newtons.
So AC Odyssey, I don't know. I feel like it's always the last one in all of these categories that I feel like people should consider. But whatever. We've like God of War, Spider-Man, and we're going to see these games over and over. This is just the first time we're going to see them. God of War, Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. It's just going to be a rough year, man.
That's a tough year for anybody.
So for best action adventure, I don't know which one's taking the cake here between the big three.
So I beat God of War, beat Spider-Man. I'm nowhere near finishing Red Dead Redemption 2, but I think I understand the mechanics behind it. I've played it enough to know what I'm getting into, and I enjoy it. It's very good. All of them excellent games. I mean, 3 games that are top tier. They deserve to be nominated for many awards. But for me, best action adventure game, it's Spider-Man. That game was in every respect a joy to play, a fun look to it. Every unlockable was really enjoyable to play with. The various events, the characters, great. It was just a great game. And God of War would probably be the very close second for me in a shocking respect to Red Dead Redemption 2. As much as I like that game, I think it's a great game. I don't know that it's the best game. I
don't know if this is the category for it. Yeah, no, I'm totally with you, actually. In fact, with Spider-Man, and I haven't played Spider-Man even, like God of War, I love to death, and we'll probably take, I think, 2 of these at least. But yeah, Red Dead, I don't think this is the one for that. And Spider-Man, I would put at the top with you. So
it was too much fun, and
action adventure.
To be perfectly candid about it, that game honestly lived and died by locomotion. And if they hadn't got the swinging right, everything else in that game would not have worked. And sure as hell, they got that absolutely pitch perfect.
And adventure's probably the active word here because the next category is just action.
Mm-hmm.
So we get Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Dead Cells, Destiny 2, Far Cry 5, and Mega Man 11. Games we played being Call of Duty, Dead Cells, and Far Cry 5. Games you played, I should say, actually.
I forgot about Far Cry 5.
Well, that's not going to win.
Far Cry 5 was fun. This is a tough one because Black Ops is a good action game. It's a really solid game.
This is the category for that.
Absolutely. Yeah. But for me, picking out of these, I'm going to pick Dead Cells because not only is that game so addictive, the integration for Twitch, the loop that it has, and the builds that you get, and the movement that I love it. I think that is an incredible roguelite that deserves a little bit of attention here. And while I think Call of Duty is probably going to win, and not undeservedly so, Dead Cells is just a really great game.
Nah, Dead Cells again. One I haven't played. I think Dead Cells needs to take this one.
There we go.
So it's official.
There it is. Landslide. Again.
And I'm glad because now I think we have to have a knockdown drag out because for best VR AR game, it's Astrobot, Beat Saber, Firewall, Moss, and Tetris Effect. It's you versus me. It's Beat Saber versus Tetris Effect.
Indeed.
I think I win.
Yeah, you think you're going to get a Tetris on this?
Maybe.
I am not sure who pulls this one away, honestly.
Really?
I do think Beat Saber is out of those that I've watched. Those are the best ones. Beat Saber is the one I've played.
So if you had to choose one, you are choosing Beat Saber over Tetris Effect.
I am.
Okay.
And I'll tell you that one of the main reasons I'm choosing Beat Saber over Tetris Effect is while Tetris has some really cool VR functions, like VR things to it, Beat Saber actually uses them. You do have to duck. You have to move. You actually are swinging things. You're doing stuff. You're not just playing Tetris. And while I understand that you're quote unquote not just playing Tetris, you are still just playing Tetris.
Okay, you've pulled the category name card on me, and it's shaken me considerably because we're talking about the best VR game here. And while we've talked, like I said, a bunch about Tetris Effect, go check out the show probably last week. If it's a VR game, if the best has to be best VR, you make a pretty good argument there. There's a lot to what Tetris Effect does that is VR specific. I made that argument specifically that it couldn't be done anywhere else. It does take advantage of the medium. Does Beat Saber take more advantage of it?
I would say it has to. I mean, it definitely does.
I think you might be right. So I'm going with Tetris Effect still. I don't care.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. Don't care. But you're just wrong. Best
mobile game. It's going to be Donut County, Florence, Fortnite, PUBG Mobile, Reigns, Game of Thrones. Do we... I feel...
I have played PUBG and Fortnite.
You play? Oh, really? You've done the mobile version of both of those, really?
I did, because as soon as I got the iPhone 8 Plus, I wanted to see how those games played on bigger screen and everything. And they both were fine. I hate them.
I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
They are not fun to play in any respect for me.
I just don't think they go here, and there are going to be so many other places. Like, I would have rather seen two other just kind of out of nowhere mobile games, like two more Donut Counties in here. I would have loved to have seen.
Fortnite's going to win this because it's Fortnite.
It is. That's the other thing. So, not that I would actually put Donut County above that, the one that I have played, but I just wish those weren't in here at all.
Sure.
Whatever. Best independent game, not best indie debut, which is separate and different.
Debut.
Here you're looking at Celeste, Dead Cells, Into the Breach, Return of the Obra Dinn, and The Messenger.
I've got a little bit of skin in this game.
Sure you do.
By a factor of 3.
All of the skin, in fact. Did we talk about Obra Dinn?
We have not talked about it, but I have it.
Okay. But you haven't played it?
We played it. I haven't finished it.
You played it. Okay.
It was one of those, we'll start it, we'll just check it out real fast and then finish it out.
Gotcha. Okay.
But as mentioned, Dead Cells, Into the Breach, and Return of the Obra Dinn
are the threesome here that you have to decide between. You've played them all. I've played them none.
Yeah, and I mean, this is an easy... It's Dead Cells for me, no question.
All right. Okay.
again,
I could see that still.
Obra Dinn is beautiful and it's very cool. Into the Breach, again, I've already talked about, but Dead Cells, like I mentioned before, it's just, as far as games like this go, it is a quality action game, and as far and that it's an indie game by itself makes it, even a little bit better for me.
Yeah, it's independent.
Yeah.
Return of the Obra Dinn is something I think will get its due elsewhere, but for me it would be between that and Dead Cells, and since I played neither, well, I'll go with you.
All right, thanks.
Next up is Best Performance. We've got Brian Deckert as Connor in Detroit Become Human, Christopher Judge as Kratos in God of War, Melisanthe Mahout as Cassandra in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan in Red Dead Redemption 2, and Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker in Marvel's Spider-Man.
The spiderest of men.
I played the demo for Detroit, all of the God of War, as have you. I did choose Cassandra when playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and actually that might be my favorite part of that game is that character in the 2-3 hours I played of it.
Huh.
And Arthur Morgan, we both played Red Dead Redemption 2. You've played Spider-Man. I feel like this is maybe the second roughest of all the categories this year.
Yeah, this is a tough one because all of these people had great performances.
Yeah.
And I've seen, I haven't played Odyssey, but like Detroit Become Human, I've seen people, I've watched the gameplay, and I've seen her, and she's great.
And for what I've played, that stuff is strong, but then maybe we can eliminate that because we just don't have the stuff on that one. And here, maybe I could whittle it down some more for you, although this probably shouldn't matter. Do you like Roger Clark as Arthur Morgan more than the guy who did Marston?
No. And I've been thinking about that since the game started, and I think what I don't like is, number one, John Marsden. He sounded more natural in how he spoke, and this guy sounds like he's putting on, I make fun of it all the time.
100%.
I make fun of it all the time with my wife because he's. Every time I do the click the left stick in to massage your horse. Mm-hmm. It's that you're all right, boy.
Yeah, you're
okay, and it's just so affected. And I just as I get that they're trying to make him gruff, but he is not only do I not like the way he is doing the performance, because it is the analogy here is it's the Christian Bale Batman voice. It's totally
it's not that bad, but yeah, okay.
But then the other thing is that I don't think the dialogue, the written dialogue, is bad at all. I think some of his line reading, their choices for giving that line reading, not good.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's never so bad that I think that it takes me out. I still enjoy it overall.
Yeah.
But yeah, in comparison, both to John Marston and I think to the others on this list, actually, I would put him last. For me, it's between God of War and probably Spider-Man, I guess, and just from the clips I've seen,
Yeah, and this is one where I have got to once again go with Spider-Man, and I go with Yuri Lowenthal as Peter Parker here because outside of Tom Holland at this point, this guy is an absolutely perfect Peter Parker / Spider-Man. He gives him the right amount of earnestness and the right amount of naivete, even though he's older and he's in his 20s now.
Right.
But also there's that brilliance, and he does such a good job getting all of that across and going through the arc with Octavius and then Aunt May and Miles and then seeing how Negative Man comes about. He does just this fantastic job, and I, as much as Christopher Judge, absolutely fantastic.
I was gonna say, yeah. So what's your deal with Kratos? Because I think I'm going Kratos on this. Don't misunderstand that I'm not saying it was he was great. Kratos is a terrific performance. A lot less lines than Peter Parker, maybe, sure.
Yeah, I'll tell you my thing with Kratos is that there were a few of those similar to Arthur Morgan, few lines here and there that I just thought the reading of it came off really poorly.
I can't think of one really.
And I shouldn't even say really poorly. It just didn't like it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like that was the right.
I know there are moments because that character Kratos is super. Trying to think of a less pretentious word for laconic.
I think laconic is not pretentious and it's totally valid.
All right, so he's that, but there are moments where sure he kind of breaks out of that, and he talks a lot more or at length, especially when he's talking to his son. So I could see maybe there being a transition of sorts there, but even then he seemed to inhabit that. Just the voice and how he did it just always came off great to me. So yeah, I would put that above the game I haven't played. So there you go.
Fair enough.
What about best audio design for Call of Duty Black Ops 4, Forza Horizon 4, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2? I feel like you could correct me about Call of Duty, but we're looking at God of War, Spider-Man, and Red Dead here.
I will say I think the audio design for Call of Duty is terrific.
Well, that's true. You did mention that. You did the guns.
The guns sound great. The audio for the characters is fine. The sounds. I would not put that as best audio design for sure. No.
I was gonna say if we're like designing a world here, like God of War, which is I think we're nearing where God of War gets its respect, is anything that's kind of world creation in nature. So yeah, audio design. I'm looking at God of War. Spider-Man, you could tell me about. I feel like that city came off pretty darn good. And there was that clip that went around forever about how he's got different takes for whether or not he's exerting himself and all that stuff.
Definitely.
Red Dead has great audio design, but I would go one category up on that. I think we'll get there.
Yes, I think you and I are in the same. I do think Red Dead also has terrific sound design. The guns sound fantastic.
No, for sure.
The ambient audio when you're running through trees or running through grass, running through mud, hearing the animals around, all absolutely top notch.
For sure.
Spider-Man, you're right. The city felt great when you drop down and you walk around. People say, "Hey, Spider-Man," or "Hey, I don't like you, Spider-Man," and you could wave at them and all that stuff. The thwips and the other stuff was good. It was really good. It wasn't great. It wasn't fantastic. God of War for me, definitely. This is one where,
cool. All right,
man,
same page.
The audio design for this, all the sound effects, the sound of the water, the sound of like when Mimir is in the tree, and then when you cut him out of the tree, and the teleportation between the worlds, and the sound of like all that stuff came together and really formed that world that I'd never inhabited before, and I felt like it had been inhabited before I had ever been there.
Yeah, like in my head, I can't even separate the two. Like the world sounds a certain way, and the sound is such a big part of it that it's. I'm with you. God of War.
And I think you just actually hit the nail on the head for me with this one. Is every other game, Spider-Man, Red Dead, Call of Duty, they all take place in a place where I do know the sounds, whereas in this God of War, I don't, and it brought the world together.
Yeah.
So.
All right. The next category that we've already alluded to is best score, and I think that's where Red Dead's got and again, we got the big three in here. God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead, and then Octopath, Ni no Kuni, and Celeste are also in here. The big three, I think that's where I'm leaning Red Dead now when it comes to score.
There's no question for me.
Okay.
I mean, God of War had a great score.
It did, actually, yeah. It's a close second between God of War and Red Dead.
Yeah, Spider-Man, nothing to write home about. Spider-Man was very by the numbers, superhero-y, lots of crescendo.
Gotcha.
So not bad at all. It kept you in the mindset of being a superhero, but it's not something that I'd walk away with thinking, man, that was great. Red Dead Redemption, that's one where I'd be like, yeah, I'd actually probably buy that soundtrack. Because it's beautiful. Like it's got those amazing acoustic guitar sounds. It's got there's
spaghetti western stuff.
And you still get the swelling music, and it's great. It really, really fits the game. It fits the aesthetic, And it's it's kind of funny to say this, but I think that their score is what kind of sets Red Dead Redemption apart from God of War, in the sense that here it's the score that really lets me inhabit that world more so than the quote unquote basic audio design.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be upset if God of War won this.
No.
Like the score is used very much in the same way that the audio design is. Like, it's very much a part of that. It's hard to even separate sometimes, but the swelling of that music and all that was super tied into like where you're walking around in the world and what stories being told you at a certain time, stuff like that. So yeah, it's a good game will win that.
Probably. and the winner for best score music, Ni no Kunai 2. We're like, what the hell?
Could be. I don't know.
And
Never played any of them.
Yeah, we don't know.
And I'm going to keep it moving. Best art direction is the next one that caught my eye. And this is actually the one I was talking about with Return of Obra Dinn, where I could see it maybe getting a little bit of recognition.
Yeah.
It's certainly above Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which looks great. God of War would be the contender for me, and it's such an apples to oranges thing. Octopath Traveler and Red Dead Redemption 2 are in here as well. Red Dead Redemption is kind of just an amazing true to life representation type thing. Like, I don't there's art direction there for sure, especially since it's Old West. Like, it's a beautiful game from menu to world.
No, I think Red Dead Redemption 2 has a lot of things going for it, in that they chose the right kind of costuming for the characters. They've got the set design that they've used for each city is really solid. It feels like it exists. You know that when you go to Saint Denis, like, it feels like an 1899 New Orleans. You kind of get that art direction. It's there, but it's
fantastic. Sure.
Absolutely. But it's also like, I'm not trying to be reductive here, but it is expected.
And familiar.
You're not getting anything really like outstanding. It's very good, all of it. And what I mean by outstanding here is not that the art direction, like, not that the choices weren't, they're outstanding choices. They're not outstanding in terms of something that deserves an award, in my opinion.
Well, whereas I think Return of Obra Dinn has this all-encompassing aesthetic to it, but still, where I say it deserves some respect, I would still give this category to God of War. They created that world from scratch, seemingly. I know it's not. It's freaking Norse mythology and all that stuff, but
it's their take on it. It's
a fantastic take, though. Like, the texture of that world, and I'm not just talking about the actual textures, is the best for sure.
Yeah, and I think I mentioned this when I started playing it, but the moment that the game, and I think this is partly an art direction thing for me, anyways. Where all of that came together, and when I noticed, I really picked up on just, oh my gosh, this game is really, really beautiful in not just the artwork itself, but the decisions in how that world was built and what exists in it. The moment was when you are first told to talk to the world snake, and I took a minute because I didn't even realize it was there. Like, I was like, he was just there, and you see him and I'm like, okay, whatever. It's up there. I can't do anything about it. It's a giant snake. It's whatever. But when the snake comes down and you get a look at that, that leads you to a whole bunch of different other things. And you go to Helheim and you go to some of the other, and they're so different. And yet they all feel like they are part of that universe. And it's so engrossing how that looks and how those decisions were made that there is no chance that game does not inspire thousands upon thousands of people to understand how to create that kind of beauty in games.
Every moment of that game was how are they going to create this next thing? What's this next thing going to look like, this world, this character? And they found a way to do it that was cohesive and not samey. Mm-hmm. Like, I could tell the enemies apart from each other. Like, all of those different Valkyrie quests, each Valkyrie looked different, and I never got lost or confused about, because you're collecting the helmets at one point. Like, each helmet was diverse in a way that I was like, I remember this guy at this point and stuff like that. Yeah, there's no way either of the other ones takes this for me, but
yeah,
I've been wrong before.
Sure.
Maybe I'll be wrong about best narrative, which is between Detroit Become Human, God of War, Life is Strange, Marvel's Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2. Again, I think we're looking at the big three here. God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, and Red Dead Redemption 2.
So I want to get out ahead of this.
Okay.
I want to get out ahead of you on this one.
Okay, please do.
Spider-Man again. I don't know.
Spider-Man takes it.
That's it. It's done. I don't know. I'm thinking about this right now still. The one thing Spider-Man has going for it that is also a detractor, is that video game is 100% a comic book. That is your narrative. It is, you know what's coming, you know how it's coming, you just are getting there, and you know you're going to be involved in a really fun way. But from a narrative perspective, as much as I love the game, I don't think it's deserving of best narrative. Mostly because Red Dead and God of War both are... God of War, for sure. I didn't know how that story was going. I didn't know where we were being taken, and the build for that, and we've talked about this, and Red Dead is getting there. I actually think Red Dead is for narrative. It's putting up a fight right now. Because it is seriously filling out with all the ability to talk to people, and then the notes that are lying around and all this stuff. It is filling out a great, great deal. But God of War, where God of War succeeds, and I think Red Dead is maybe going to lag a little behind, is completely and solely because of Mimir. And the fact that you not only get some base narrative from Kratos himself, and then from boy, I can't remember the kid's name. What, Geoff? Kevin?
Yeah.
Liam?
Kevin
Whatever.
Kratos.
Kratos and son. The hardware store.
Atreus,
yes. Kratos and Atreus, you get the base story from them, where Atreus is constantly trying to get something out of his dad, and dad's really one-word answers. Mimir shows up, and not only does Mimir start filling out the mythology and filling out who Atreus is and the world they live in, but he pushes you forward consistently and forces you into meeting, Baldur and Thor's sons, and dealing with all that, and then figuring out how do you get from point A to point B? How do you succeed in the mission you're in? And I think that the way that story unfolds, especially with not only with him, but with Freya, who becomes such an integral part of that story.
Right.
I think that narrative is so strong and so tight and so well put together that the kind of detractor from Red Dead is that it's so open world that the narrative is just not as tight.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what I was going to say, actually. And I'm not far enough into Red Dead, but I find it hard to believe that we'll be wrong as far as that goes, because God of War is so focused. God of War has side quests that aren't side quests, basically. Like,
right.
They give texture, they give background, they
inform.
They totally inform. They do. It is focused. It's an all-encompassing thing that turns into kind of one thing at the end that is great. And in Red Dead, it's probably going to have a lot of things to say about a lot of different things. It's a very feature-rich storytelling experience.
Yeah.
But God of War is focused in a way that I think Red Dead can't be, honestly. So
and I think the other thing with Red Dead, this isn't reductive either. I don't mean this reductively, but Red Dead is also far more about making the game your narrative, because you have so much freedom you can help people,
sure,
you can choose not to, you can kill people, you could choose not to.
And my narrative sucks. So -1.
Yeah, get some. That's what you need to do, is get some -1s.
Oh, I will. Yeah. Maybe for best game direction. Yeah. And I freaking love this. A Way Out.
Mm-hmm.
Detroit Become Human, God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, Red Dead Redemption 2. I love that A Way Out is on here, because this is probably the only spot where it could compete a little bit.
I think it competes. I do.
We thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm glad something reminded me of it, because in doing so, I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then thinking about kind of the idea of game direction, yeah, that this belongs and competes. Does it edge out God of War, Marvel Spider-Man, or Red Dead Redemption 2?
Probably not.
Probably not, but
I like to think that on some level, I think on some level it does, but I don't think it does enough to warrant beating out God of War or Red Dead. Spider-Man again. I can't let this go. The game is
hate that game.
The game is so bad that it's and by bad like Michael Jackson bad. No, the game is so good, and it's one of those games though that it's so good because of the sum of its parts, whereas it's not greater than. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
So I just don't think I don't think that. Okay.
Well, because God of War and Red Dead Redemption are like they're the definition of that. Like God of War is a bunch of component parts that make up this fantastic whole, and Red Dead's even more parts, better whole.
Yeah. So that's honestly where I was going to go with this. Is I think from a game direction perspective, I think Red Dead Redemption is the better one. I think God of War is absolutely fantastic. But I think Red Dead Redemption, from a game direction standpoint, I think it's better.
I'm with you.
And this actually, I think is funny because it's informed by what I just said about the narrative. I think the fact that the game is so big and it does still have a narrative that gets filled out not only by following just the individual like story quests, you do get some stuff on the side that does help fill out, but you also get to decide your narrative to a point. And in doing so, exploring that world and exploring that time of history in a pseudo spaghetti westerny way, I think all of those choices. And the thing is, I want to point this out. This is not necessarily what I would say about GTA. I don't know that I would ever give GTA best game direction, depending on what's there. Like against God of War, absolutely, I would not. I wouldn't actually, but I think Red Dead does something a little more interesting, and in doing so, I think it edges out God of War ever so slightly.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Almost for the same reason, I would put God of War ahead on narrative. Like thinking about everything that direction tells, like game direction specifically. Like if this were best movie direction or movie director, I'd probably say God of War, right?
Sure,
but talking about kind of game direction, all that entails, and all the moving pieces, and what that must have been like for a game like Red Dead. Yeah, even just looking at how it came out. Yeah, Red Dead Redemption 2
by Rockstar.
Best ongoing game, we've got, I'm going to save the best for last, Fortnite, No Man's Sky, Overwatch, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and Destiny 2.
Okay, let's get this out of the way. Fortnite's going to win.
Probably. In your heart of hearts, who's taking this home?
In my heart of hearts is Fortnite.
Oh, still, even.
But no. If I had my druthers, this one would go to Rainbow Six.
Oh, okay.
Even though there's been a little bit of a controversy here the past few weeks about some censorship stuff.
Yeah,
whatever. In terms of that game growing, continuously getting better, the community growing with it, I don't know. I feel like not only did that start with a rough start, it has continued to get better, and that's all it's really done. And they've done so without totally borking the game every single time they make an update.
They haven't borked it. They win the award. It's such a weird category, though, because I feel like some of these have already shown up. Like Siege and Overwatch could have been there. In fact, I want to say Overwatch has been in and won it, which I guess leaves it open for, multiple year winners. That's fine. I kind of feel like Overwatch has received its due. And certainly as far as ongoing goes, I think
it is continuing.
Yes, it wins the first prize. In my heart of hearts, No Man's Sky does something here.
Oh man, the insane amount of updates Hello Games have put out and turned that game into, maybe too little too late, but turned it into not only what
completely different, but maybe also what people were expecting.
I think people expected, but I think now it's exceeded that expectation.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Fortnite. Hey, Fortnite wins. Game of the year. Are you ready?
Fortnite.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, because we got to have it. Celeste. God of War. Marvel Spider-Man. Red Dead Redemption. Monster Hunter World.
Big three again. God of War, Spider-Man, and Redemption of Redness.
Is anybody upsetting the big three here. Monster Hunter World could, not from us. Celeste, I don't know enough about, but the fact that I keep seeing it here makes me want to know more about it, especially in the company it's keeping right now with this Game of the Year.
Pretty crazy.
Assassin's Creed, did we mention that before? We said the name. Due diligence. Do I have to choose between God of War and Spider-Man and Red Dead 2?
Redemption? I've already said this. I can't give Red Dead Game of the Year right now.
We haven't played enough of it, or
I just don't know that it again, absolutely fantastic game. I'm loving every second I'm playing it. I just don't know if it's the best game, if it's the Game of the Year. I mean, especially in comparison, because for me, it's Spider-Man. More than anything, God of War was a great game, amazing story, fantastic time. Red Dead, same thing. But Spider-Man, at no point playing that game did I not have a smile on my face. It was a pure joy to play.
I really need to play that game, don't I?
And that's what it comes down to, is that like God of War, I really enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the story. But Spider-Man was a joy to play. To be swinging around the city is unreal. Like, it's the most fun thing. There were times when I just kept swinging and swinging and swinging, and yeah, I could have gone and done something. Didn't want to. Wanted to see how close to the ground I could get. Wanted to see how high in the sky I could get. Wanted to see how many things I could. All because they nailed that locomotion. When you get into a fight, it was great. When you've got your extra powers and stuff, and you're throwing weird stuff out there, and they're pulling all the stuff from the comic books and from the cartoons, and I love that game. Great story, great gameplay, really fun arc, great setup for a sequel, which I think we already a God of War setup was good. It was, you knew it's coming. Spider-Man, you knew it was coming, but.
So I think I can relate because, Red Dead Redemption 2, I don't think I'm far enough into it to even know what it's going to be, to know, to give it Game of the Year status. I just definitely am not. Like, I can see the greatness. There are great things about it.
Sure.
But I haven't seen what that snowball is going to roll into type thing,
Yeah.
At this point in the game, I'm choosing God of War. I don't know if it wins over Spider-Man, so I hear you talk about it. I feel like I really need to play it, but I just don't know. Can't say yet. So
fair enough.
So I'm going to recuse myself a little bit from this thing because Red Dead Redemption 2 has the potential to be way better than God of War.
I legitimately think this is going to be between Red Dead and God of War. I think Spider-Man is a dark horse here.
Really? Okay.
I mean, maybe I'm wrong. All the reviews for it were absolutely fantastic. So maybe, but I have to wonder. It's kind of funny because I feel like in so many ways, it's like the Oscars where Spider-Man is good. Spider-Man is great. Spider-Man's comic book. It can't win the Game of the Year because God of War is serious. Red Dead Redemption is serious. Spider-Man is Spider-Man.
No, that's a good point though, actually. Like if somebody made that argument to me, like God of War or Red Dead does more to kind of advance the ability of games in a way. Like Spider-Man's a game. Spider-Man is a freaking game and a half. Game. Good.
Yeah.
Like God of War and Red Dead are like experiences. They're worlds. They are, like I feel like sure I could see somebody being like they advance the cause of games a little bit more with what they've done.
Sure. I mean, they're like, again, I think at least a chunk of it goes back to narrative and not to take anything away from Spider-Man, but at the end of the day, Spider-Man games are always going to be a comic book. You always are going to end on the same note. The Batman games, same way. You knew how they were going to end every time. At the end of that game, Batman is always going to kind of win. Spider-Man is always going to kind of win.
Yeah, and we don't look back at those and be like, man, you remember the story from... for some reason, I remember the story from Arkham Knight more than any of the other ones. But so yeah, we don't look back on those really and say like, oh man, that story though.
Right, but whereas GTA 4, Red Dead Redemption, those are games that I look back on. I remember those stories. I remember specific moments that I had in those games.
Good point. Weird phenomenon almost.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll find out. I'll find out in person. I'm going to the Game Awards. I will be there. I've got a VIP
You're a
pass.
VIP.
Whatever that means.
It means you're going to get your car parked, and then you're going to get your car out in a greater amount of time.
It did include a parking pass. You're right.
Park like 4 blocks down.
Yeah. I'm excited. Hey, you know what? I feel important. It worked. Worth every cent.
When you pull up, you just kind of say, hello, I'm important.
Just drop my keys on the floor. Later, guy drives my car away because it was just some dude in the garage. It's at the Microsoft Center. It's nothing special.
It's going to be like that part in Ferris Bueller, except it's going to be a totally different kind of car.
Whoa. You've described so many things right now. Thanks for hanging out, everybody, and definitely check out the Game Awards as well. We didn't have our big, long discussion about what they are. We'll probably do that when I come back.
Yeah.
Until then, podcast at zerohitpoints.com. If you want to email us, we'll be back next week, as will you, I'm sure.
Yeah, no, I'll be here.